Starters. Hi everyone, I'm Dino, and Brett's moving to Yarraville, and I loved how Max goes, at least it's not Frankston, and I thought about my favourite Frankston joke, and I'm apologising in advance if you know this already, but if you don't, it's a good one. So there was an article in the local Frankston Rag about how they found 2 meth labs behind the library. And the residents of Frankston were up in arms, like shocked. They had no idea they had a library. Thanks. I'll keep it regional. I live in Brunswick. I don't know if you can tell. I'm a bit of a cliche. I ride around on a bike of various different descriptions, and they've always got kegs on them. And no, push bike. And before God invented electricity, I did it without motors. And it's been an amazing life that I've had over the last 15, 20 years. I put kegs of beer because my dad owned a brewery, and I used to put kegs of beer on my bike. And when I was fighting the monopoly of CUB in pubs, I couldn't get Dad's kegs into pubs, so I just started creating pubs in parks, and that was how I started the whole game. But I ride around on a bicycle serving kombucha on tap now in Brunswick, and I stock a lot of places. But I have lots of interesting experiences in supermarkets. There was this one time I was late for a gig. I've ridden the bike up to a very local Safeway. So it was Safeway at the time, Brunswick. There's another callback, Safeway. And I rode up there, and I've gone to run in to grab 3 bags of ice from the freezer in Safeway. And as I'm running in there, I noticed this massive monument to the shitfulness that is the logging industry in this country, and it was Kleenex triple ply super soft toilet paper for a ridiculously cheap price. And I saw it and I went, oh fuck, the bogan's gonna go nuts for that, you know. And then I ran and I grabbed 3 bags of ice, and as I'm running back to the queue, this woman cuts me off, and she's got a trolley full of toilet paper. And I'm like, fuck, and I'm waiting, and I've got the ice, and I'm thinking, fuck, late for this gig. And anyway, I'm looking at her, and I had to say something because I've been arrested a few times. I've used my vans as protest vehicles and tried to stop logging trucks up near Healesville, and I've had mates who've got severe brain damage from axe handles from loggers, and it's a shit fight, you know. And you sleep in the mud, and you wake up in the morning and you get arrested trying to slow down the progress of fuckwits in what should be national parks. And and so I'm thinking about all these people, and I'm thinking, I've got to say something. So I looked into this woman's eyes, and I said something that no one has ever said to a woman they don't know ever. And it was brutal. It was only 2 words. I looked at this woman in the eyes in the Brunswick Safeway, and I said, sensitive asshole, ? Brutal. And she's like, what? And her husband, this massive dude, Italian and angry, looked at me and he said, what the fuck did you just say to my wife? And I stood up for the forest, you know, and I said, I was just asking your wife if she had a sensitive arsehole, and that's why she needs to buy this ridiculously soft virgin forest toilet paper. And, you know, like, it's got that, those choices have consequences. I want to have kids one day, you know. And he just said, I don't think this is any of your fucking business. And anyway, that's not funny, that's just political. So, but it happened in Brunswick. I'll tell you something else that happened in Brunswick. I fell in love with kombucha. I brew a lot of kombucha, and you're all, you know, lucky to be in the presence of the Marie Curie of the kombucha world. I gave myself salmonella, and I had multiple orgasms. I'm sure she had multiple orgasms. So I gave myself salmonella, completely unrelated to my orgasms. So I was Just don't think about Morgan, really. Now what we need to think about is science. So I'm really passionate about kombucha, and I was living in a share house, and we were all just being super hippies. We're going to festivals, we're coming back from festivals, we're trying to be vegetarians, we're failing. And there was this chicken in the fridge, and it turned up, and like within 2 days, I'm asking all my housemates, whose chicken is it? Because it was missing one leg, and it was in a bag in the fridge. It was a roast chook, and I just felt sorry for this chicken. I was like, someone's got to eat this chook, whose chook is it? Anyway, I go away to a festival, come back. They all go to a couple of festivals, they come back. We all go away, we come. Anyway, it's been about 8 weeks. And I'm in the house by myself, and the chicken is still in the fridge. And there is literally no other food in the house. And I'm hungry. And I open the fridge, the smell is almost overpowering. I look at that chicken and I go, shit, maybe if I fry the hell out of that. And my stomach just turned at the concept of it. But above the fridge, and here's a little tip that I give in my kombucha workshops, there's I made a warm cupboard, so all the heat from the fridge went up through these little holes in the cupboard, and I'd lined the top of the cupboard with some insulation material. And basically, it's pumping out probiotics from the cupboard. It's in fact, I brewed so much kombucha in that little cupboard, it started my business, that the airborne component of the kombucha ate the hinges off the cupboard above the fridge. Like, it was that rich. Anyway, and I'm thinking, today's the day I'm going to try that kombucha, and I'm going to eat that salmonella chicken, and I'm going to see if it works, if I can survive. So I pull the chicken out of the fridge, my stomach turns over, I grab the kombucha down, I have a sip, it settles it. I open the bag, stomach turns over again, more kombucha, settled. And I'm like, I think this is going to work, right? So then I start peeling the skin. Now the skin's got multicolored villi, like this, it's like a forest growing on this thing. And I'm not eating that. So, but as I peel the skin off the chook, it's just mucus, right, between the skin and the meat. And I'm like, that is the most disgusting thing. And I like the taste of chicken skin, so I'm just going to fry the hell out of the whole thing, right? So I put the skin back down, and then I start hacking into it, and my guts are turning, so I drink more kombucha. And then I start frying this chicken. Like, I start reheating the chicken. I've hacked it into bits. I've got it on the fry pan, and all of the villi just started to sort of wriggle down and die and turn into these black blobs. I swear to God I wasn't high, but these black blobs intersperse themselves perfectly on the plate, as physics will tell them to do. And then at the central point of each of the black blobs, this white light just suddenly came up, this white point. And then I'm watching where the ring burner is for the gas. It's making it, it's hot, right? And then those little white points become circles, and the circles grow out, and then they just pop. And I'm watching these beautiful patterns happen on my fry pan, and I am feeling like I'm tripping. And I start drinking kombucha and looking at it going, I think I'm ready to eat that. I think that's fine. I reckon I've done what I needed to do to that bacteria to make it less toxic. So I ate some of it, and then I went, oof, guts, kombucha. So I basically made this tiramisu of salmonella chicken and kombucha. And I ate the whole chook. Like, I gave that chicken a burial. And then I started feeling really weird. Like, I told my doctor this story, and he's like, you're an idiot, you could have died. Anyway, and I climbed up over the 5 milk crates. We're all about the same age. This is what we did back in the day. We had beds, we had futons on milk crates. And so, as was the fashion at the time, I climbed up the 5 milk crates onto the bed. I passed out on the bed, and I had the most incredible dreams of these ridiculously charismatic, good-looking army soldiers in kilts and loincloths, just stabbing these big, blobby, pink monsters, right? And winning. Like, I was zooming in on different parts of my body and feeling this fight happen all through my guts, and winning, and I was like, oh my God. And I woke up in the morning, I felt fantastic. And I got out of bed, I'd sweat so much that the doona was wet and dripping, the futon was dripping, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy, and I was busting for a piss, right? And so I hadn't wet the bed, you know, and I'm like, this is insane, this amount of sweat, right? So I climbed down off the bed. Now, this is where World War II gets involved. I sat down on the toilet because I lived in Germany for 6 years, from 2000 to about 2008. Now, they lost 2 world wars. So men in Germany sit down to piss. Like, they just do it, right? Like, women told them to do it, and they went, yes. Because basically, I think it's a punishment. It's a war punishment for starting 2 world wars. So they all sit down to piss, and I do it now, and I love it. So I'm sitting down to piss, and as I'm sitting there and I'm relaxing into my morning ritual, I realised it was time to get rid of that salmonella chicken. And oh my God, it was like a crowbar, you know. It chinked when it hit the porcelain. It was like a metallic kunk, and I felt so good. Sorry, Brett, if I'm ruining your party, but I'm just talking about my shit. And it was such a good shit, and I felt so good about it that I rang my mum, and she's like, oh, Jesus, Dino, you know, you'll never grow up. And she's probably right. So, but that's the good thing about kombucha, is you don't age. So that's my kombucha story. I'll end with an animal joke. There's a penguin. Can I do a medium length joke, or do you want a short one? Brett?
Let's go a short one.
No. This is my way of gauging how I'm going. Yeah, short one. All right, so this bear walks into a bar and he says, I'll have a hibiscus lemongrass ginger kombucha with spiced rum. And the barman says, sure, buddy. I mean, bears obviously drink rum, right? So, yeah, sure, buddy. And he starts making him this amazing kombucha cocktail. And as he puts it down, he says, here you go, Mr. Bear. But why the big pause? And the bear says, I've always had them. Thank you very much.